Welcome everyone. Good evening. Tonight we have the workshop for San Francisco Downpayment Assistance Loan Program, DALP. This is a very good and unique program in the San Francisco. And tonight's workshop is part of the Housing Expo event. It is hosted by Home Ownership SF. So tonight, besides me, Carrie, my name is Carrie Hua. I'm the housing counselor of Asian Inc. And also we have Ronald Chiu from Chase Bank. They are one of the approved lender for the DALP program. And we also have Tammy Little from MOHCD. So tonight, the workshop will be presenting in English. However, we provide different language for the interpretation. We have Chinese and the Spanish language. So everyone who need the interpreter service, you can turn your channel. You can follow the instruction to choose your language.
Muy buenas noches a todos. Aquí su intérprete para esta noche. Van a poder escucharme en simultáneo interpretando esta sesión, en esta velada. Para poder acceder a los controles tienen que simplemente, punto 1, ir a la parte de abajo en interpretación, hacer clic en el idioma que desee una vez que acceda al icono con forma de planeta y de ahí me podrá escuchar en simultáneo. Muchísimas gracias. Ahora mi colega en cantonés. Now my Cantonese colleague will let you know the instructions.
大家好，歡迎大家參加今晚嘅三藩市首富援助貸款計劃 DALP。咁我哋今日會提供翻譯嘅服務嘅，咁就係包括廣東話同埋西班牙語。咁想聽翻譯嘅朋友啦，麻煩一陣間咧，我哋啟動翻譯嘅時候啦，喺屏幕下方有一個地球儀嘅標誌，寫住 Interpretation 口譯，請你撳入去，跟住選擇 Chinese 中文，就可以聽到廣東話翻譯。同樣，如果你係用手機入嚟我哋呢個 Zoom 嘅會議啦，咁你喺手機個屏幕咧見到3個點，撳一撳，跟住選擇 Interpretation 口譯。再撳入去選擇語言，有中文啦 Chinese 就係廣東話翻譯。咁如果你想淨係聽到翻譯嘅聲音，唔想聽到講者嘅英文原音嘅話咧，你可以選擇咧關閉原始音訊。多謝大家 ，Thank you。
So tonight you will be also have the function for enable or close the captioning. If you join with computer, you can see there are 2 steps. Step 1 is to click show caption. The icon should be located at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And then step 2 is choose the caption language. If you are joining with cell phone or tablet, you can click the caption icon show on the step 1. And then the step 2 is to slide the green button. And then step 3, you can pick the language you want and then click save. Okay, so the Housing Expo event and tonight's workshop is hosted by Homeownership SF, just like I mentioned before. Homeownership SF is a non-profit housing organization. They provide home ownership services. They provide home ownership resources, for example, like the home buyer or the homeowner, and also provide referral services for different people who are looking for housing or who want to rent housing. There are 5 partner members. One is Asian Inc., and the second one is Balance, SF LGBT Center, Meta, and SFUSD. So let me introduce myself again. My name is Carrie Hua. I'm the HUD-approved housing counselor of Asian Inc. If you are looking for the counseling service, you can always contact us at 415-928-5910 or go to our website for more information. Our core services including home ownership, education and counseling, housing application assistance, credit and debt counseling, post-purchase education and foreclosure prevention. So let me pass the presentation to Tammy Little. the Homeownership Program Lending Specialist of MOHCD.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tammy Little. I'm the lending specialist for the home ownership team at the Mayor's Office of Housing and Community Development. Along with our staff, I help administer the Down Payment Assistance Loan Program with the eligibility review and the loan closing of the DALP loans. The DALP program allows qualified first-time home buyers the opportunity to apply for city assistance up to $500,000 to help purchase a market rate property in San Francisco. The DALP includes cash assistant loan programs such as the general DALP with AMIs up to 200%, the First Responders Down Payment Assistance Loan Program, which is for our San Francisco Police Department, the Fire Department, and our Sheriff's Department with AMIs up to 200%. We also have the Educators Down Payment Assistance Loan Program for our San Francisco Unified School District educators with AMIs up to 200%. And finally, we also have a Teacher Next Door program, which is for the San Francisco Unified School District educators, and it's a forgivable loan of $40,000 to help assist with additional down payment and closing costs. So let me tell you about some of the details, which are some of the parameters applicants must meet for eligibility of the DALP. The applicants must be a first-time home buyer, which is defined as that no member of the household may not have any home ownership in the past 3 years. The property of purchase must be used as the owner's primary residence, which means no renting of any portion of the property is allowed. The household must meet the household income requirements based on the San Francisco area median income limits. The household must work with a MOHCD approved lender for their first mortgage loan financing. The applicant must also complete the 10-hour first-time homebuyer education requirement. Also, at time of payoff or sale, a proportional share of appreciation of the fair market value at that time will be paid back to MOHCD along with the amount you borrowed at the time of the DALP loan. So shown here on this slide is the 2024 area median income limits. This chart is the basis for the income eligibility for each household. So as you can see there, if you're a household of 1, for example, you look at the chart and the maximum total household income for a household of 1 at 200% AMI cannot exceed $209,800. And it just goes on depending on how many people apply for the DALP. So if it's 4 people, for example, you will see that the total household income cannot exceed $299,700 at the 200% AMI. Okay, let's talk about the do's and don'ts of the DALP. So DALP is meant to be used to provide down payment for households who otherwise would not be able to purchase a market rate property in San Francisco. DALP cannot be used for property upgrades, home improvements, making repairs to the home, paying down debt to qualify, or even applying it towards your first mortgage loan to reduce the loan amount or payment. That is what DALP is not meant for. And here we have the first-time homebuyer education requirement. So this is required to apply for the DALP. There's a total of 10 hours of first-time homebuyer education that the household must meet to receive a verification of first-time homebuyer education from the Housing Counseling Agency. So there's 2 hours of the first-time homebuyer orientation. There's 6 hours for the first-time homebuyer workshop. And then there's 2 hours of individual counseling in which you'll speak with your housing counselor to discuss your particular home ownership readiness based on your financial picture. More information could be found right there at the web address of homeownershipsf.org/homebuyers. So here's the purchase timeline. And at the time of DALP eligibility, MOHCD will issue a pre-approval, which is good for 90 calendar days. So you have 90 days to actually go out and shop for a home in the open market and make an offer to get into contract. Once the household is in contract, the lender will provide MOHCD a copy of the ratified purchase agreement, and the lender will have 30 calendar days to issue their approval and send their lender package to MOHCD for review for the final approval of the down payment assistance loan. Then at that point, we will need 15 business days to process the lender package, review the first mortgage lender package, and issue a purchase commitment to the household. At that point, the purchase commitment is good for 30 days, which this is the time to proceed with the loan closing, funding of the down payment assistance loan, and the first mortgage closing. Okay, frequently asked questions. So will this limit my sales price when I sell? And the answer is no. You can sell the home at the fair market price of the home at the time of sale. However, you will pay back MOHCD the proportional share of appreciation plus the amount you borrowed at the time you purchased the property. Can I refinance my home if I have a DALP? You may refinance your home with MOHCD's prior written approval, and it must meet one of the following purposes, which would be to lower your current first mortgage interest rate, lower your monthly mortgage payment, or shorten your first mortgage loan term. So example would be your first mortgage is a 30-year loan. You would be reducing it by refinancing it to say a 25-year fixed mortgage. So those would be acceptable for refinancing. How do you apply when it's the next DALP lottery? We get this a lot. So currently we are finishing up the 2023 DALP year. So you would first complete your 10 hours of the first-time home buyer education courses to receive a verification of completion form that you've completed the process. Then next you'll contact a MOHCD approved lender to become pre-approved for a purchase price to purchase the property on the market rate. And then at that point, when the application period opens for the next DALP, you can apply. And right now, we currently do not have a date because we are completing 2023, but we will have marketing materials, and we will we'll make a public announcement, which usually is about 90 days before the application period begins, so that you can prepare to apply to the DALP. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ronald Chu. He is one of our MOHCD approved lenders, and he will talk further about the first mortgage loan.
Thank you. Nice to meet you all. It's great to be here and to present this information to you all. So here we go. As you all know, whoever interested to apply this DALP program, that's a list of approved lender. As you see this link in this deck in here, that's a list of approved lender that you can look up for. And just to make sure that you look for those lender who's approved for down payment and also the mortgage assistance program. And from there on, then you can choose whoever you prefer to work with. Next slides. Okay, so we talk about monthly expenses, monthly costs on owning a property, right? In this page in here, you will see PITI is the normal term that we use, which is representing principal, interest, tax, and insurance. If you have a property that require HOA payment, then it become PITIA dues. So those are the monthly expenses that we're talking about here. And any other expenses that may be including the future maintenance, repair, the mortgage insurance, if applicable, subject to how much down payment you'll be using, and the utility that may have been previously covered by rent, example like garbage and or water. And there will be no monthly payment add on to the DALP program because that is no payment program. And this lowered your primary loan amount through lower your monthly payments. Unless you have an in-pound account, you manage 2 times year property tax payments. Do keep in mind, property tax is twice a year in Bay Area here. And normally we'll recommend you to have an in-pound account. What is in-pound account? In-pound account is an account that you set up with your mortgage lender when you apply for the mortgage. This in-pound account is an account that including your monthly property tax and insurance together with your mortgage payment. So for that being said, you pay them one time every month through this mortgage company, and then you don't have to deal with those property tax payment when it comes to in twice a year. Next. Well, whenever we do a pre-approval, we always consider a few things. Of course, number one is your credit history. And credit history, we frequently use a term called FICO score. FICO is a term for credit score. Lender will always pull 3 credit bureaus to justify how your credit report looks like. They are TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. We will choose the middle score to determine. If you have 2 people applying, we'll choose the middle score of the lower one from the 2. Okay, so let's say husband and wife, and the husband have a higher score than the wife on the middle score. The bank have to choose the lower score of from the 2. Okay, and available fund for down payment and closing costs. We want to make sure that there's sufficient fund to do all that, and we want to see your employment stability to make sure that your employment history is there, and then also your income level. All these factors along with the current interest rate, with the monthly mortgage payment, and that approval lender will be able to help you to estimate how much you need to borrow to make your payment affordable. Because as you perhaps already knew, some people may be qualified for much higher payment, but not necessarily you want to pay for so much money every month for the house. We always want to find out from the customer where is your comfort level. From there to determine what's the best way to approach to qualify you on the loan. Next. The market conditions. Getting your offer accepted, making sure your realtor including the DALP information in the offer letter so the seller realize that you are using this program to setting proper expectation to the seller so they don't run into a situation down the line, and making sure you're working with a loan officer that have DALP experience. And obviously, when you start to calling the lender list out from the DALP for the DALP program, you always want to check with them. Have they ever done it before? How frequently do they do that? So on and so forth. At least give you a peace of mind. Are you working with experienced loan officer or not? How frequently should I check in with the lender regarding interest rate? You could check with the lender twice a week, once a month. That is fine, because something that, as you see previous slides that Tammy was talking about, in general, it may take 90 days from the moment that you received the letter from the DALP program that your approval. For that being said, right, 90 days is a long time. In general, the longer time you're keeping the rate locked, the more expensive rate that you're dealing with. And of course, Chase do offer rate lock during pre-approval. So that's further information that you can always reach out to me about that. Next. Documentation for the needed after the DALP program lottery. So it's always necessary to see 3 years federal tax returns, 3 consecutive and most recent bank statement, 3 consecutive and most recent pay stub, documentation of all other incomes and assets, if applicable, a down payment gift letter with the donor bank statement as proof of their ability to give, your current lease and documentation of 3 months of rent payment, if not shown in your bank statement. Additional documents by request as needed. And all this information is required for us to determine your qualifications. And the tax returns also telling us that what kind of reporting that you have done previously, regardless of your deductions or your income. Next. Other available assistance program, there's a WISH program called Federal Home Loan Bank. As you can see here, and they're matching grant up to $30,806 per household. Income cap is 80% of the HUD AMI, available on a first-come, first-served basis, forgivable after 5 years. Make sure double-check in the website to find the lender who are participating to this program, because not necessarily all the lenders they are participating to this program. Next. Ask an approved lender, can I use DALP with other home buyer assistance? Yes, you could, subject to what program they are. And again, always double check with the lender. Does DALP change my interest rate? It might be subject to your individual situations. As you understand, that is considered down payment assistance loan program. The bank will determine, based on your portion of down payment, to justify what kind of interest rate you may be dealing with. And again, interest rate varies every day nowadays. So it's always necessary to double check with your lender, with the DALP program, how much down payment and so on and so forth, determine what's the best interest rate that you may be able to get. How much of my own money will I need for down payment and closing costs? It's all determined based on how much you're buying, so on and so forth. But from my understanding, after you're going to set up your pre-approval, the lender want to make sure after all the transaction costs, the down payment, everything else, the borrower, the buyer, should not have more than $60,000 with them in the bank. So if you have like $70,000 at the end, you may get to reduce your down payment assistance program loan amount by $10,000 just to match that threshold of $60,000. Next. So home buyer workshop.
So I think this is for me. Thank you so much, Ronald. And thank you so much for Tammy and Ronald provide such useful information. And Tammy talked about the down payment assistance loan program, the general requirement, and how to apply, what's the income guideline. So everything is really important. And then Ronald talked about the lender part, how to qualify, what documentation you need to prepare for the loan, right? So very useful information. So I just want to remind everyone tonight we have the Q&A session. So if you have any question regarding the output, you can type your question in the chat box. So later on, I will read your question and then have the specialist to answer your question. And then let me circle back to the PowerPoint slide. Once again, I want to remind everyone that the first important step is to attending the home buyer education workshop. So if you remember, Tammy just mentioned that there are 10-hour education requirement. So the first 2 hours is the MOCD program orientation. And then the second step is the 6-hour first-time home buyer education workshop. And then the last 2 hours is the one-on-one housing counselor. We can do the phone counseling or the Zoom counseling or in-person service. So count together, that's total 10 hours. So how to find the information? You can always go to www.homeownershipassess.com for the full list of San Francisco homebuyer workshops and the city assistant program. So all the information you need is you can search it on the website. If you want to contact Homeownership SF, you can always call them at 415-202-5464 and also email them at info@homeownershipsf.org. So hope every information is will be helpful to you. Next slide, please. Okay, so I want to give you another reminder that besides the online housing workshop like tonight, so the workshop already begins on Tuesday until tomorrow, Thursday. So we provide different online housing workshop, different topic. And then the Saturday is the big day. So remember May 18th, Saturday, that's the in-person event. You can come to see every different organization, lenders, and also MoCD, Mayor's Office, Housing and Community Development. They will have the team to provide resources there. So this is a really helpful, very good event. I think the event is from the from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you can save the calendar. And then hope to see everyone there on this Saturday. Next slide, please. Okay, so tonight we have the evaluation. Hope everyone can give us some feedback. You can click the link. I believe the host will also put the link. The evaluation link on the chat box. So you can very easy to go to your chat box and click the link. Then you can fill out the survey. And then during the time, if you have any question, you are welcome to type your question in the Q&A box or the chat box either way. And then I will read it out and then let maybe Ronald, Tammy, or me to answer the question. Okay, so let me see what question we have so far. So Ronald and Tammy, are you ready for the Q&A?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, sounds good. So a client is asking, how much of my own money can I keep after the down payment? So I believe this question is for Tammy.
Yes, so after down payment and closing costs, you're able to keep 60,000 of your assets. So it's 60,000 is the maximum. If there's any funds, when I say funds, meaning liquid assets allowed after 60, it will automatically reduce the DALP amount. So 60,000 is your cap.
Okay, thank you. And then
Tammy, can I ask a quick questions to follow?
Yes.
This? So 60,000, you mentioned liquid assets. So those IRA account, 401k account, they're not considered part of this.
They're not considered. Those are non-liquid assets. So those are more for your retirement. And the city is very, we don't like you to go and take funds that are used to take care of you later in life. We want you to use your liquid assets. So that is considered not part of the 60,000 liquid assets.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. So the second question is that can you clarify about having more that 60K brings down your payment if the maximum required to have in a bank is 60K? I think Tammy already answered this question on.
Yes, so the maximum cap that you're allowed to have after your down payment and your closing cost is 60,000. If there's anything over that, the DALP will automatically be reduced. So say, for example, at the time that the file is ready to be final approved, and we calculate what your down payment is and your closing cost, and there's $62,000 left into your account, the DALP amount that you're applying for will be $2,000 less because you're over 60,000. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So another question for Tammy regarding DALP, about when will the funds be available, and any idea how much the city will receive this year?
You know, we have not been notified yet of the actual amount of the next DALP because we're still finishing up our 2023 DALP funds. So hopefully we'll be able to get some notification from fiscal probably later on this year. And when we do market and make an announcement to the public about the DALP year coming. We also hold like an info session, and we give you at least 60 days to get yourself prepared to apply. So the best thing you can do if you're just want to pop into and check our website periodically just to see if it, you know, if there's any information, but typically we announce it, a public announcement, and then we have an info session in which you can join in on something similar like this to listen to what the new DALP year will consist of and the funds.
Okay, thank you. So there are no more questions in the chat box and Q&A box. So I think everyone are doing good. So if you have any more question, you can type in the, okay, I still want more. Okay, we are waiting for your question.
If it's easier, can we just turn on the microphone and ask the question?
Yeah, sounds good. So if everyone wanna ask question, you can raise your hand, and then I will let you open the mic. Okay, let me read the question. A client just typed, does not having 3 years of tax returns count against you in applying DALP, I believe. Is that
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Question is that does not having 3 years tax return count against you in applying DALP?
3 years. Okay, 3 years tax returns is required to apply for the DALP. So you must have 3 years tax returns as part of the eligibility for us to evaluate the income to apply for DALP.
So Tammy, I want to add on to this question. How about for the new immigrant? They don't have 3 years tax return?
So with that, we are working with some lenders who specializes with those borrowers, and they would actually work with their lender to assess if they're able to apply for the DALP, but MOECD has no bearings as far as them having qualifications to apply. First, they have to be the household has to be eligible to get a first mortgage loan. So it's more of a first lender to see if they can give you a loan first. But DALP doesn't have any requirements as far as the down payment assistance is concerned. So you want to start with your first mortgage, which is a approved MOECD lender, to see if they're able to give you a loan based off not meeting all their requirements.
To go back to the question, Tammy, as a lender, we always look at last 2 years income history. So the 3-year part is not necessary in our case. And so that 2 years for me is good.
Are you, I'm sure this could be spoken to as far as like the eligibility, because each lender is different. So it all goes back to whichever lender is able to grant them a first mortgage loan, right?
Because my understanding, right, MOH, aren't they required to see in past 3 years to making sure they don't own any property. And
Correct.
the way to
That's
do
part
that-
of our,
Exactly. The
right.
way to do that is to making sure they did not report any deductions on the mortgage interest or property tax out from the last 3 years tax return to determine if they have not, or they do have, or they don't have any property, right? So I think that is one of the ways that I remember. So for that being said, I'm not sure, is this something can be waived because of they just came to US not too long ago. They only have like 2 years tax return. Would that be something that MOH can able to override or something, right?
That may be a extraordinary case, so that would have to be looked at individually based on the application's full file that you provide.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Very good discussion. So we have a client raise the hand. So let me ask you. I can ask you to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for holding this workshop, by the way. I have another question for Tammy. 2 questions, actually. If you would please clarify, the maximum amount that one can have after a down payment is 60,000. But I didn't hear the question the gentleman posed, excluding retirement. And what kind of vehicles can one have more in retirement? I mean, does it have to be like, well, what do you, like an IRA, or can I just have it in a savings account if it's more than 60,000? That's the number. So I'll let you answer that question. Then the other one will be a little briefer. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sure. So it would be any liquid asset. So that would be a savings account, a money market account, stocks.
Okay.
If you have a checking account, anything that is liquid. If it's retirement, to be used where it's non-liquid, as far as like a retirement account, as far as like an IRA, a 401k, that is not part of the liquid assets. That's non-liquidable. So we only include the 60,000 post-purchase requirement only applies to the liquid asset requirement.
Great. Thank you for clarifying that. And then the other question is, oftentimes I've seen in the property that it's available, advertising that it's another loan from the city, but it's not DALP. So is there another program for assistance with down payment?
Yes, it's not down payment, but it's you may be speaking about below market rate or city second loan program.
City second loan program.
Yes, we do have city second loan programs, which is also a down payment assistance program. However, it is a city-owned property, so it's a little different because you would have to be open to complying with the grant first right of refusal, which is part of the city property that you would actually have to agree to when you purchase the property.
I see. And where can I find more information about that?
Yes.
And it's
the
confusing
city
because, sorry to interrupt you, Tammy. And it's confusing because this is also a second loan. DALP is a second loan. So when the other one referred to a second loan, I thought, is it different or is one and the same? So it's different because
it's a little bit more restrictive. Where this
Okay.
down payment assistance loan, it's a market rate, so you don't have those restrictions when it comes to reselling, to having to sign like a grant right first of refusal. So that you can find it on our website. If you go to SFMOHCD / City Second Loan Program or CSLP, and it should pull up and tell you more details. It also has listings if there's any available that you can actually see, like what the purchase price is. And it's done on a first come, first serve basis. So it's not a lottery driven program, which is a nice feature to the City Second. So if you have done your first time home buyer courses, you have a lender pre-approval by a MOHCD approved lender, and you see a property that you like to apply for on the City Second website, you're welcome to submit your application on a first come, first serve basis.
Excellent, because I have done all those things. I just didn't get a high enough or low enough lottery number in the DALP. So
Got it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I see another hand raised up, but is another client wanna open the mic and ask question? Okay, if not, let me read the question in the chat box. So a client asked, will every application be considered for DALP? Can Tammy answer this question?
So DALP is a lottery. The applications are reviewed by lottery. So when you apply for the DALP, you'll be entered into a lottery, which we will actually have. You can actually attend, or you can just check back and see where your lottery number lands. And then the office goes through each lottery number consecutively. So we start with the general DALP, the educators, and the first responders. And we take each application and review it, and that's when we're able to offer the assistance to you. So it just depends on the funding we get. If we are able to get through, just depends on the funding. Last year, we were able to get through 2023. Right now, I believe we are like on 66 looking for general DALP. We finished up the majority of the EDALP, and we have one more first responders that we're looking at. So we try to get through them as much as possible until all the funds are exhausted.
Thank you, Tammy. And then the last question is for Ronald, is about the loan qualification. Can we have co-signers if our credit isn't the best?
Well, in general mortgage world, you can have someone to be on the loan with you to qualify for the loan. And that when you bring someone over to help you out in terms of income piece, you also have to bring over their liability. That means that you're bringing the whole portfolio of this person over as a co-signer into the applications, right? So that is fine for me, for lending part. But I think go back to Tammy now, right? On a DALP program, my understanding, I don't think there is such things allowed to have a co-signer on a DALP program, isn't it?
That's correct. They would actually have to be on the DALP application. So if there is a co-signer on Ronald's loan, for instance, just for example, that person would also have to meet the DALP eligibility and be part of the household applying for the DALP.
Okay, thank you for both for your answers. And then the last question also about the loan qualification. What if we have income history but haven't filed taxes? Very sensitive, I understand that.
Okay, so one more time, what you're saying is that this question is about they have income history but did not file tax. So it go back to, well, I think we are surrounding the DALP applications, also related to the mortgage applications. Number one, the mortgage application wise, if you have income history but did not file tax, so technically you have no history at all. As a lender, we don't do steady income. We are doing full documentation verifications. So that means that we have to see your 2 years income history to determine your stability of your income and your job. So for that being said, we will not able to use these applications. And if I'm correct, Tammy part also have the same issues that if they don't have any tax return filed, it does not meet the requirement for the 3 years tax returns.
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's why our counselor also recommend people to check the income before going to the lender. So from the counseling services, we will look at the tax return, pay stub, and then the assets bank account. We do budget for the client. We also try to find out some mistake or some really need to be attention. We want to point out things to the client and then to let people be more well prepared before they go to the loan officer or before they submit the application. Okay, so I think that's all the questions.
No, actually, I see another one here.
Another
Lydia, right?
Lydia. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So what if you can't find a lender because of maybe poor credit history, or don't have enough money for the down payment to qualify for the loan? Let me see. Very long the question. Don't have enough money to normally qualify for enough of a loan to buy anything in San Francisco, but with DALP lowering loan amount, we would. So I think Ronald, you understand the question, right?
I can understand.
Yeah,
So Lydia,
have
it's a
poor
bit concerned
credit and
about
not
like
enough money.
credit situations, and then the income qualification, so on and so forth. I totally understand. We come into lots of cases like this before, so it's not something new. So obviously you should probably know that's a below market rate housing, right? Those are the situations you can able to qualify yourself into a condo with a lower cost of the housing, right? And that's number one. Number two, the DALP, the BMR program also have a BMR DALP that can able to help you out in terms of the down payment also. And of course, as a bank, we do offer minimum 3% down payments to mix with the BMR DALP to qualify you on the loan. But when you talk about the credit situations, I don't know where you are right now in credit history, but it is necessary to take time to take care of your credit in order the lender will able to fit you into their program, right? Until then, I think it takes a little bit time, right? But buying a house is not just like overnight things. That's why you have homeowner. No, sorry. You have counselor. You have DALP company. I mean, MOH to assist. You have lender to assist to give you all the guidance which way to go. So obviously, the housing counselor will be the first person to go for because you are required to have a housing counselor certifications before you can apply any housing program through the County of San Francisco. And with the assistance from them, they can able to guide you what kind of program that is available. So I think based on the information that you are telling us, I think that definitely you still able to buy something, and of course may not be always perfectly fit you, but there's some program able to work with you and get you to the home that you need to.
Thank you, Ronald. All right. I think that's all for tonight. Thank you for everyone joining tonight's meeting. Hope our information is very useful for you.
Carrie, just a second.
Yeah.
I think Lydia have follow-up. Was it Lydia? Have a follow-up question. Can housing counselor education be started ahead of time?
Okay, yeah, I can answer this question. Yes, of course. Anytime, I will say that anytime you wanna learn the housing assistance program, no matter you are ready or not for the loan, that's not the requirement. So no requirement for education. So we encourage people come as soon as possible, because from the MoCD orientation, you can see all the program provided in San Francisco, what's the requirement, what's the process, and how the program will help you. And then later on, follow up for the 6-hour first-time homebuyer education. We will teach people, we will educate people how to improve credit, just like the question Lydia asked before. If poor credit, we can help you improve it. And then also the saving, how to save for the down payment. We also talk about the loan process, how to prepare for the loan pre-approval. And then later on, after signing the contract, how to apply for the mortgage. So we have a lot of information to share. And also how to shopping for houses. What are the different type of houses in the United States, and what's the program provided for you to buy your first home. So the education is really important, and MoCD also recommend people to complete the workshop first and then talk to the counselor And when you are ready, you can go to get the loan pre-approval from a lender, right? And then submit the application. So this is the timeline in the process. So I think.
So there's another iPhone 5 actually raising his hand.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Please ask your question.
Hi, it's Camille again. Regarding the education, the buyer's education workshop, I've got an extension because of the DALP loan, mine not getting the lottery. How many times can I have it extended before I have to redo the 10 hours again?
So for the certification, it is valid for 1 year. But after 1 year, you have another year to come back for renewal. So we give you 1 year grace period to renew your certificate. So that counts from the early beginning to your deadline to renew your certificate. Actually, that's 2 years.
Okay, and then after that, I'd have to do it again.
And then if you renew your certificate for one time, and then you want to come back for the second time for renewal, then you need to retake the education and orientation.
The entire 10 hours again?
The entire 10 hours, yeah, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. So another question I see in the Q&A box, how can you apply for the education? So we have a slide before, or maybe Alice, you can go up. There's a website, homeownershipsf.org. They provide the full list of San Francisco homebuyer workshops. So you can check the schedules. There are different languages. For example, English, Mandarin, Cantonese, Spanish. So you can pick the language you want. You can pick the organization you want to complete the 10 hours requirement. More information will be on the website. And every month you see many different options. So no worry. So you can pick the date you want, the schedule. Oh, I see the hand raise again. So please unmute yourself. No more question. All right. I think, and remember to fill the survey. Your feedback is really important to us. We appreciate for everyone's evaluation. Okay, thank you so much.